Hi, I'm Wendy, and I'm a missionary in Thailand. I've been here for over 21 years, and I'm hoping to share some tools with you that I've learned over the years, and specifically from two classes that I took in seminary recently. One is apologetics, and one was philosophy, where I was introduced to Christopher Cohn's worldview chart and an explanation of the foundational questions that make up a person's worldview. So today I want to talk about, this session I want to talk about epistemology. Epistemology is super important. And the epistemology is basically the theory of knowledge. It asks the question, what is knowledge? Where is truth and knowledge found? How does one acquire knowledge? And these are kind of where we start to form our worldview. Those are really important sources of information, sources of where we begin to understand really our ontology and metaphysics. So for us as Westerners, where we go, as Western Christians especially, where we go to answer this question, we go to a variety of places, but really our foundational source of knowledge as Christians is the biblical canon and theological tradition. And so that really has great influence on how we answer the question, what is knowledge? So that is what we bring with us when we go to share the gospel with people. And that works fairly well in a Western context. A lot of people are familiar with Christianity. We have a cultural heritage in Americas and Europe, the Western world, of Christianity. So when we talk about concepts about God and about heaven and hell and all these things, it makes sense to people. They understand what God we're talking about and what heaven and what hell we're talking about, because we kind of have that common definition of what those things are. So we share, even though we're talking to people who aren't Christians, we are all Westerners. So what we say makes sense to them. They have at least heard of what we're talking about. And but it's different when you're in Asia and here specifically in Thailand. It's a completely different animal. And I was shocked and amazed at what I learned as I read and learned about Theravada Buddhism. I had no idea that our worldviews were so completely different. So our source of knowledge as Christians is the biblical canon and theological tradition, and then of course science, media experience, and whatever. And then for the Buddhist, it's also science, media experience, community, culture, and definitely family. But it's the Pali canon, or the Dhamma. So why is that significant? It's because these are holy scriptures for them, and then our holy scriptures, and what they teach on all levels of worldview are completely different. I think I mentioned in another video, what they teach about God is there is no God. The Buddha taught there is no God. There are no gods, and there is definitely no creator God. So that's a huge difference right there. And then another huge question is, where did the universe start? So we Christians believe in the beginning of a universe, and there's an ontological question. Where did the universe originate? Where did it come from? And we go to the Bible and answer that question. And God created the world. We believe that. However, for the Buddhist, they don't teach that there is a beginning to the world. The Buddha taught that the world, the universe, is endless cycles of birth, life, and then death, and then rebirth. And so there is no beginning to the universe in the Buddhist worldview. So when we talk about things that we believe are and our reality, it is very different from the Buddhist reality and what their concept of what the universe is and what things exist and what things don't exist. For example, we believe in a spiritual realm, and we believe in the natural realm, or the realm of our world, the material realm. But Buddhists believe in 31 realms. So they have levels of heaven, and they have levels of what we would call the material world, and then they have 16 levels of hell, hot hells and cold hells. So when we're talking about concepts that make sense to us and other Westerners, these concepts are really not understood and confusing, and actually go against what they were taught in their own religious tradition. So it's helpful to understand these differences as we approach Thai people or Buddhists or Asians with the gospel of Jesus Christ.